Hello, hello, everybody. See, that's why we need it mirrored. Just kidding, Sean. You know me. I'm Julianne Delara. You see me on the Rolling Over the Hill with the Golden Chicks podcast on Thursdays. But um, if you are on social media, you also know my buddy here, Allie Corvin. And today we are talking about social media because she knows everything. I know nothing. And except what I do know is the what I've seen happen in the world since social media came around. So that's what we're going to discuss. But first, I want to thank our sponsors, as we couldn't do this without them. Urology professionals and mobility professionals. Don Woods has put together an incredible team over there. And if you need anything in DME, if you need anything in urology, call these guys. They're actually people who have disabilities. What a concept. And they've worked there a long time. They know what they're doing, and they're actually nice people, as you can see, because they sponsor us. So thank you, Don Woods and team, and thank you, Allie Corvin, for coming on to this chat. So tell us about you.
Oh
Introduce
gosh,
yourself.
what an open-ended question. But anyways, yes, hi, my name is Allie, if you do not already know me. I'm known as many things, but I just handed off my crown as Miss Wheelchair California, thanks to this lovely lady on with me, who has connived me into doing that competition. But
You
since
did.
then,
You did.
my social media has definitely taken off. That's an understatement, I'm sure. But yeah, now I'm known as the Wheelie Girl online, and sometimes the controversy girl, and sometimes the fundraising girl, and the adventure girl, and it never ends. So yeah, there's lots to dive into, but that's me in a
Tell them
nutshell.
how many followers did you have, like when you first came to the Rolettes experience and you and I met? Were you doing
Oh
social
gosh, in
media at that time?
2024, I wouldn't say I was doing social media. I think I was doing it no different than any other college student that posts their wins and, like, your friends look at it and that's probably about it. And I had some random people that followed me, but I don't think I had more than 3,000 followers on Instagram. And overall on Facebook, I think I had 10, maybe 10 literally. And other than that, like, I didn't do YouTube. TikTok, I had maybe 1,000 or two. But yeah, now overall combined from all of my platforms, I am creeping up on 500,000.
Wow. So within, let's say, a year or two, you did this.
Um, yeah, so I've only officially been quote unquote doing social media for a year. Consistently doing social media, probably like 10 months ish, if I had to guesstimate. But yeah, I didn't like really post anything that was like an edited video or something where I wanted to post for the masses instead of just my friends until, gosh, October of last year. Not last year, sorry, of 24. So
So
just
what
over
was
a
your
year.
impetus to suddenly go, I need to do more of this? Why
Oh
did you do
gosh.
that?
So
You
many
can always
things.
say I'm not answering that question.
I
I do not.
question so many of my life choices, but why did I do it? Because I knew that there was a need for visibility and different types of lifestyles for those who are disabled. I also knew that, like, I was not in the category of disability that a lot of people socially accept unless you are someone with a disability. So just creating that visibility. And I also know that, like, I have a tough exterior. I don't really care what people say about me. Obviously, whenever it gets into the really bad conversations or things that are affecting my life, then obviously it gets to me. But I'm someone who can work through those things fairly easily. I've seen a lot of things in my life, so I just figured, why not post it? And I can always stop if I need to, but what's the harm? And then what really kicked it off was doing Miss Wheelchair California. I was like dead set that I was going to help them get more visibility and get more funding. And little did I know what that was going to turn into for myself. But yeah, very quickly I had brand deals and partnered with I just counted 2 days ago, over 100 nonprofits in the last calendar year,
Okay, let's stop
which is like a
stop
big
there
win.
because people here are going, What? You have brand deals? What? You're not just wasting time, you're making money? Sorry, my
Yeah.
opinion came through. Um, so how did you do that?
I always answer this question the same exact way. I have no idea. I genuinely have no clue how it happened. I think a lot of that is the behind the scenes of people were seeing what they were calling, I'm not tooting my own horn, but we're like, oh, it's quality content or original creative content. So I was using my voiceovers. I was actually talking to people like they were people and then including important information, educating in a way where able bodied people were involved and kind of curious about what this lifestyle looked like. And I think that that was not only a really exciting way for companies to like look at marketing, but more than that, like my very first brand deals were all from the accessible world, and I was doing things in the adventure world. So it's flashy. It's you can put it in an ad. You can advertise with things like surfing and hiking and road trips. So I think it was just like the type of content that I was doing. But then yeah, once they started rolling in, I just am a very audacious human, and I always say, why not? If you embarrass yourself, what are you actually losing? You just learn the experience. So I just started cold emailing people and sending people DMs on Instagram, and I think I've gotten 2 no's out of the like hundreds that I've sent. So
Okay, so
audacity is how, I guess.
you reached out to them. People just didn't
Several,
go,
yeah.
"Oh, how cool you are because you can do a wheelie. I want to give you $1 million to represent my product." That didn't happen.
I wish, first of all, it was anywhere near that. I wish the money was that much, but it's not. No, I get a
Okay.
lot of companies that reach out and want free work, but then I just respond with, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Here are my rates. And I pulled those right out of my butt. Like, I do not know what I'm doing. I really don't. And people are like, oh my God, you're so good at this. You know everything about social media. Mm-mm. I am winging it just like anybody else in this industry. There's no rule book.
Dude, you're on it as an expert. Start acting like an expert. No, just
I
kidding.
do everywhere else but podcasts. Literally every single
No,
podcast is where I out myself.
no, this is why we want you here because you're a real person, right?
Yeah, I don't
Yay.
know. I don't believe in like gatekeeping or lying. Like if we can all succeed in this industry, then the more the merrier. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like part of your success is that you are a real person, and people respond to that. Now, I have actually looked at your feeds. Is that what they're called? Reels? Is that what they're called? Okay. And you have an extraordinary numbers of "Wow, you're cute and would you like to marry me?" which has to do with your looks and your age. But other than that, so the first thing is your reel, REAL. The second thing is you said it yourself, you know the formats. Like I've noticed when I did a video, yay, I talked. When you do a video, you act and then you talk over it later, right?
For a lot of the ones where I'm out at an event, yeah. The ones where I'm doing wheelies, it's usually just me talking, but again, I'm doing something interesting. You have to be able to catch someone's attention with like, if you're looking at statistics, because the further I get into social media, the more I looked into it. Statistically, you have 3 seconds, literally 3 seconds. That first 3 seconds of your video decides whether the viewer is going to stay or not. And that's it.
I just look to see if it's sponsored or not. That's what I do in my first 3 seconds. Goodbye. You're sponsored. Goodbye. Uh, okay, that's good information. So me just sitting there talking didn't grab anybody. Maybe it was the flowers. Hmm. Okay. Next time I'll no, I can't do a wheelie. That's your gig. Um, so how much of your day do you spend creating content? Uh-oh.
I love that I knew that this question was coming, but I didn't know that it would be this fast. But anyways, an ungodly amount. When I first started getting traction back in December, I was spending anywhere, and I'm like super embarrassed because I have the little thing on my phone where it'll tell you your screen time, like how much time you spent on each type of app. I was spending somewhere between 6 and 16 hours a day at the very beginning. And then for 3 months straight, I was averaging in the 12 to 16 hour range. So it was a lot of work. And that was like, it's not like that was with a day off. That was 7 days a week, constantly, when I wake up, the first thing I'm thinking about is social media. When I go to bed, I've just thought about social media. And it's just, it was all consuming. And I know, and I knew even then that that wasn't like a healthy thing to do. It was not the end all be all goal. But I also knew if I could lock in as hard as I could and teach myself as much as I could about social media quickly, then the longevity of my quote unquote career that I'm building would be more sustainable. So it's not something that I recommend anybody do, first of all. It was mostly just because I blew up overnight and I kind of panicked and I wanted to make sure that I was doing things not correct, but at least appropriate for my audience, if you will. So yeah, I'm still learning every day, but it's an ungodly amount. I think I'm sitting somewhere between, I don't even like admitting these things. Somewhere between 6 to 9 hours, at least 5 days a week still.
Creating content, editing content, posting content, all of the above.
And managing my content. So like I do have to make sure that things are being received well online. I'm not reading all of my comments. I'm not doing anything like that, but I do have a set few people who will message me and let me know like, hey, this is going on in your comment section. I just want to let you know. And then I have to go handle that. Or I'm checking all of my direct messages. On Instagram, it separates your messages where people are talking to you. You've already responded to them. But because I'm a business account with a bunch of followers, there's also the like request section. So it's not just requests. I also have like the hidden requests. Right now in my hidden requests, I have over 5,000 messages I have not gotten to.
Hidden requests? Why would they be hidden?
Hidden
Is it
requests.
pornographic?
Sometimes it's because the account hasn't been up for a long time that's messaging you. Sometimes it's because the message has something that Instagram deems either inappropriate or scammy. A lot of the times I'll go in there and that's where I will find things like hidden brand deals and companies that don't really know what they're doing yet. And I've found a lot of things in my DMs as well. So it's just whatever Instagram's filters throws into that section.
I didn't know this world existed. How interesting. So you could get scammed even through your DMs.
Oh, yeah. That's like one of the biggest things, especially with my generation and younger, is they're using AI now. You can just have AI sound like a certain generation, a certain gender, a certain, interest of sort, and then it just generates a message and it'll send you to a link. If you click on that link, then you've fallen into the trap.
Now, how has social media, this intense thing you did? Well, of course you are intense, so you would do it intensely. But how has that changed your personality, let's say in the last year and a half, 2 years?
Oh gosh, I always like to say like I'm a pretty resilient person, but I really I can't explain to you the audience because I know I can explain to Julianne. She's seen a lot of it. But as the audience member, I can't even begin to explain how much more resilient I've become, how much thicker my skin is, how little I care what people say now. And I really just feel like I have a broadened perspective on how people perceive people online. So I've never had the celebrity thing. Like some people love celebrities or like love to keep track of celebrities. That just never made sense to me.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't have an interest in it. But when it comes to like influencers, I always thought, God, it's got to be similar. I'm sure it's not the same, but it's got to be similar. And I still have the imposter syndrome of thinking I don't have that many followers. Like I recognize it's a big number, but I still don't quite comprehend until I'm in public and people recognize me. And I'm like, oh, okay, like this is getting up there. And then I remember like I can't go get gas. I can't go to the grocery store anymore without somebody possibly recognizing me. And I think the wheelchair makes it even more obvious. So
Right.
um yeah, it's interesting. My personality has changed definitely a lot. I'm a lot more careful with people. I now don't really have the luxury of knowing why somebody wants to talk to me. I try my best to keep a neutral state of mind, but it's definitely difficult because I've been through quite a lot in the past year and I've been burned quite a few times. I'm sure I've made thousands of mistakes along the way as well, but the internet's not forgiving. And it's obviously
No.
like the internet doesn't exist on its own. It has to have people behind screens, and those people, when they're behind a screen, just really are not forgiving. And it's become like an outlet for people to let out their weekly, daily emotions of whatever they're dealing with, and they just project. And so I just try to keep that mentality of like, it's not about me.
So, people, do you agree people aren't really viewing you as a human being? They're viewing you like they're watching TV in some way. Or am I wrong?
No, 100%. And I get people who even tell me that, like, oh my gosh, I forgot you're like an actual person. And so even reading some of my DMs, like people treat me like I'm God and it freaks me out because I don't view myself in anywhere near that category of human. But
Happy to hear
it's
that. No
also,
memes? No memes of you as Jesus? Just checking.
please no. I feel like now there's gonna be, and I'm gonna talk to you about that later. But anyways, no, it's just I don't know. It's a strange concept. I know some people do. I know that there are a few select that don't view people that way, but it usually is because they either know somebody who is in the public eye or have had some similar experience where they kind of understand what it's like. But yeah, it's very surreal. I don't really know how to feel about it still, but yeah, very surreal.
So they're projecting something onto you. They either think you're a god or think you're the devil, is my observation from reading comments.
Oh,
There's doesn't
100%.
seem to be middle ground as people view you.
I think that that's not just about me, though. I think that we need to have a middle ground in how we view everybody. I think that there needs to be an automatic benefit of the doubt for anybody, no matter what you've heard about them. Because the reality is, how many drama TV shows have we watched where there's a chain of rumors and it gets out of hand? How many
Right.
times do you, I mean, the Romeo and Juliet story is like a perfect example that I use for people of like, rumor mill, rumor mill, rumor mill. And then if you act on that without having proof, then you know what I mean?
You
Like
both,
it
you
just,
both
it
end up dead.
exactly. It blows my mind how willing people are to trust either internet friends or even friends in real life or whatever, about either a stranger or maybe it is even somebody that they know personally, just because I don't know. I believe in making opinions of people on your own. And I always like take people's word with a grain of salt and I go, okay, I'll keep that in the back of my mind when I'm meeting so and so. But also, I don't know why this opinion exists. I don't know if there was a mistake made. I don't know if there was petty opinion at hand. Like it's none of my business. So I do my get best to like just I don't know, be neutral. But it's very hard, I know, as a viewer to be neutral whenever the internet is a space where it's so common to scam people or to lie to people or manipulate them into whatever. So, like, I get it, but also it's very hard because if we were to just give everyone the benefit of the doubt and let them prove it, then we'd have our answer. But it also means you're putting yourself in the line of fire. So, like, I can't just openly suggest that you trust everybody. That sucks. Trust is earned, but yeah, I don't know, rock in a hard place.
Yeah. Now, what about, how much time do you spend viewing other people's content?
Not much at all. I spend so
Okay, how
much
about
time
when you were
posting.
learning? When you were learning back before October, did you check out other people's how other people do social media, or you just
I
jumped
think
in
I
as you
Well, so when I was like in the COVID pit as everyone else was, I was a chronic scroller 24/7. I mean, 2020 till I don't know 2023, it was just consistent, and especially because that was when my health was the worst, and so I spent oodles of time online watching people's content, and it was of all types. Like I wasn't like just one niche type of content. I wasn't just in the disability world. I was very new to disability, but I think like leading up to me posting, there were a few select people who like I respected their content and I respected the way that they did things and I learned a lot from those people, but I tried to just do what I thought would be best to convey my personality through a screen. So like I didn't go on and be like, "Oh, I want to look like so and so's content, so I'm going to do this structure." It was more just like what do I enjoy watching, what speaks to me as a person, and how can I translate that into my life?
Yeah. Now, you don't close caption your stuff too often, but you always do a description, don't you? Is that
I
you
do
or is
both.
that an app?
So oh, that's all me. That is all me. I have a very difficult time because like when I first started social media, like I'm not here to like lie to anybody. I don't think that that's going to help, but I used AI a lot when I first started, but I had no concept of AI at all. Like I didn't understand how it worked. I didn't understand what was good, what was bad. And so what I was doing was taking my captions and putting it into AI and just saying, make this short enough. Like if I was over too many characters or whatever for Instagram, and it would cut some things out. And that was simply because number one, I was overworked as crazy with like how many things I was doing for Miss Wheelchair. And I could not do it alone and I didn't have help. So I used that for a little bit, but then I very quickly found like it didn't sound like me anymore. It didn't sound organic or authentic, and it just really rubbed me the wrong way. And then I learned what I've learned about AI and how bad that is. So I was like, oh, okay, no, like let's cut that out. So that's all me.
Smart. Maybe that I mean that is part of the charm of what you do is what I've found. But it just that so many people agree is absolutely wonderful. Are there specific rules for Facebook that are different for Instagram, that are different for TikTok, that are different for YouTube? And how, if so, how important are the rules?
Yes, and I'm sure there's some that I don't even know about. The ones that I have to keep in the back of my mind are usually related to YouTube. They have a lot stricter rules on copyright for music and audio. So if you're using somebody's song or whatever, like they'll be very strict on how you monetize your content. I'm not fully monetized on YouTube, so it doesn't fully affect me, but like you can get points knocked against you essentially, and then eventually they can just shut your account down. So it can be really important. Facebook and Instagram are all meta, so it's very similar in how they handle content. I don't have as much of an issue with them, but it is very picky about length of your captions, and then like you can only use 5 hashtags in any of your posts on Instagram and Facebook now. They've just made that a rule. I mean, Instagram, you don't make money. Facebook, you do. I make pennies, literally. Like, that's not a joke. Pennies. I think I made $2 last month on TikTok. But that's been a recent crash with them. And then it takes a lot longer to make money on YouTube, or it has, at least for me, because I haven't been super focused on long form content. So all of my content is what you see like up and down on your phone. I don't really do much content where you have to turn your phone. I'm working on it, but that just takes so much more time for me. So yeah, there's all these like weird, quirky differences.
Which of the applications want you to be sideways? I thought they all wanted you to be up and down.
Just YouTube, and they have both. So they have YouTube Shorts, which is what I post, and then they have YouTube Videos, which is the original turn your phone wide content.
Well, some incredible marketing person in our comments has said, Allie, what are your channels?
Ah, Allie Corbin it's Allie.Corbin on Instagram and Facebook, I believe. And then on TikTok, I don't even know what that was, but that scared me so bad. Sorry. TikTok is spacewalk.alley, and YouTube is the same as Instagram and Facebook. So just Allie.Corbin.
And it's ALYCORVIN, correct?
Correct.
All right, that means I've known you for more than a year. All right,
Woohoo!
here's something that everybody wants to know. How do you make money on social media?
Oh gosh, yeah, that's where things get interesting. So all of the platforms will essentially vet you before they're going to give you anything money wise. You have to be on Instagram a business account for content creation. There's all kinds of nuances and I might screw it up. So please don't quote me and go look it up if you really do want to know how you make money on those two. But there's like a difference between a business profile and a content creation profile. I don't remember which one makes money. I have the one that makes money. I don't know. But Instagram, you don't make anything. Like they won't monetize at all because it's such an oversaturated site. So they don't have like it's not a smart business decision for the platform to pay its content creators. But then the catch to that is the platform where brands will pay the most money for you to post for them. So on Instagram, I make money directly from businesses, but Facebook, for example, I do make content monetization. So it's this weird, strange thing. And the best way I can explain it is like content monetization has its own algorithm. So I don't make a certain amount per view or anything like that, but it will average it out per month and it'll give me like statistics on how well I did that month. So when I first started making money on TikTok, I think the first month I made like $4. And then the second month it just like took off and I made like $300, which was insane to me because when you go from nothing to $300, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But it's not like it stays consistent. So they have like incentivized programs where if you have a video go viral, they'll give you an extra 200. And
And
so
that's
that's what happened.
TikTok we're talking about now, right?
This is on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Yeah, you said
Yeah.
TikTok a little back, and I was very confused. Okay, so
No,
Facebook,
sorry.
you make the most money on Facebook, presumably because it's just old geezers like me who are on Facebook. Or is that not true? I don't
No,
know.
it actually doesn't come from, anybody's account specifically. It comes from the platform wanting to incentivize more people on the platform. So because Facebook was dying out a few years ago, they went, what if we pay people? Maybe people will want to post things. And so it brought a bunch of content creators over from Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And suddenly now you've got all these creators. And they even had they have a creator program where you can get a bonus, so if you post, I think, something like 10 pieces of original content, it has to be a certain length, a week or a month or something like that, they'll just automatically give you a lump sum, but it's only for the first 3 months of your journey. And it's to essentially hook you just like any other business and keep you working for them.
Okay, what kind of content are you supposed to be posting, or they don't care? It could be anything.
They don't care. Anything. As long as you're not stealing content from somebody else, it really doesn't matter.
Is Allie a model? Okay, she's gorgeous, but are you a model, honey?
That's funny. I actually modeled a lot before I was disabled in the Central Valley, which doesn't look anything like modeling in Southern California. But yeah, I did runways and print and lots of different things. And I've just started to delve back into that world. So we'll see where it takes me.
She is tall and has a very lean, sexy look. So I would say she'd make a good model. And actually, more important than any of that, she's an incredible dancer.
Oh, thank you.
We met. Apparently, we met at the Miss Wheelchair booth at the Rolettes Experience. But what I remember is doing a Rolettes class there, and I looked at the girl next to me, and I went, "Damn, she's as good as I was when I was her age." That's saying something. And I think
Toot
I
your own
said
horn.
something like "game knows game" or something, smart
Yeah, you
alecky.
said something and I didn't even know what you said to me. And I said, ha, like 4 times. And then you finally shouted at me across a bunch of people and you said, I said, you're the best dancer I've ever seen in a wheelchair. And you had a bunch of attitude. And I was like, I'm going to like that girl. Yeah, we're going to be friends.
Yeah, yeah. And I was Miss Wheelchair 2024. You were Miss
Four.
Wheelchair 2025, right? Got that
Yes.
straight. Okay, so now, I mean, when I met you, you were in sort of in between lives, really. You had left the Central Valley, you had come to LA with your beautiful fiance, Eric, and yet you weren't exactly sure what direction you were going. Is that correct?
Oh
Accurate?
yeah, that's definitely correct. Absolutely accurate. I think that's a very good, very kind way to say we were homeless little hood rats living in a 1987 Toyota Dolphin that looked like it had pulled straight out of Breaking Bad. But yeah, you said it much nicer.
That's my job. Yeah. You were
Yeah,
living in
yeah,
trash when
we
I met you. No, no,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
good.
we had no plan other than we were just going to explore for a while and glorify the fact that we were homeless. I mean, we had a series of unfortunate events essentially that just led to us not having a place to live anymore that was safe for us. And I won't even dive into those details because they're so atrocious. But yeah, we scrapped together the last cash we had, bought the Dolphin, and then literally by complete chance ended up at Rolettes Experience because Eric decided after watching me like longingly look at the Rolettes ad that he was going to cough up an entire paycheck so that we could go. So
Mhm.
we stayed in our RV on the streets of downtown LA, or like the area, the industrial part next to the airport. And we rolled into Rolettes every day, whereas everybody else was like staying in a hotel. And it was very, very surreal experience. But it was very us, so it didn't bother me. But in between lives is an understatement.
Yeah, yeah, but kind people have led you to where you are now, and you took advantage of that. So, what do you think it is about your posts that have made you so successful?
Gosh, I think just continuing to be authentic and then also not using social media as a space to tear other people down.
Hmm.
I have like so many opinions on this, but there have been a lot of things that have happened in the last year that I very easily could have posted about. Being like, oh my gosh, this person XYZ, or that person, or this company, or that organization. I just don't see a benefit at all to anybody viewing that content. I think that it just drives more negativity. So I kind of just like take those experiences as learning experiences and I continue to just push out positive content. No matter how many times people are essentially coming for my throat, I just don't believe in like falling for it essentially. I said something that actually like tanked a friendship for me personally, where I said like I just can't let those people win, and I think that that can be perceived really poorly by a lot of people of like, oh, it's a competition or oh, it's a game, but it's not that. It's that I have like this weird, I guess it's not weird, it's probably oddly healthy mentality about life that if I can just curve the amount of negativity in the world just a little bit, then I'm winning. And that's like me winning at life. It's not necessarily like beating anybody. I just have had so much animosity in my past and so much trauma, essentially, especially from when I was a lot younger, that I'm kind of done with it. I'm done with the negativity. I've had enough, and I'm not going to let life continue to force my hand at what that looks like for me. So, yeah, I'm disabled. And yeah, lately my health has tanked a lot. I've had some pretty crazy things happen in my life, but people oftentimes who are looking at it in a negative light, it's coming from some kind of projection. Like, oh, well, she's dealing with all of those things. She couldn't possibly be doing all of those other fun things online if all of the negative things were true because I couldn't, so and so that I know couldn't, or this example and a public figure couldn't do it, so there's no way that she could. Instead of learning from it and saying, oh, it is possible to enjoy life even though it's kicking the crap out of me. Like, I don't know. I think there's something about how positive that I am online that just like seeps through a screen, and I hear it a lot in my DMs.
Okay, you did say DMs. I was not sure I heard that correctly. Um, yes, thank you for
Direct
getting that.
messages, yes,
Yeah,
DMs.
yeah, yeah. Well, she hears her bowel movements. Now that's interesting. They talk to her. What was I just going to ask you? So have you been accused of your some of your posts being AI?
I've been accused of my posts being AI. I've been accused of completely faking my disability. I've been accused of not being a woman. I mean, you name it, I've been accused.
Okay, you're really a reindeer. Good to know. Now, let me give you my observation because you kind of got me back reluctantly to social media because I wanted to see what you were doing, spending 18 hours a day doing. And what I've observed is you project joy, and people are so hungry for joy. And that was an observation I made right away. And now, as I am reluctantly looking through more social media, I discover that those are the ones that catch my eye, maybe in the first 3 seconds, as you said, is anybody who is projecting joy. There's enough just sad stuff in the world that why would I look at it, right?
I get
Because
yeah, I get a lot of questions about like why I don't speak up against certain topics or why I don't talk about politics or why I don't defend certain groups. And while I hear their concerns, I have a deep need to stay as neutral as I can because I am fairly neutral in a lot of my opinions and just that, like, be a good human being. And I don't need to elaborate that. Nobody is owed my views. But also, I think that there's a universal language whenever you eliminate those things from something like social media. There's definitely a niche amount of people who are going on social media and looking for those things, but it's not hard to find if you're looking for. So when it comes to the rest of us who are getting home from work or dropping the kids off at school and you just need a 5-minute break from life, Instagram, and I mean, go all the way back to Vine, which I'm not even sure if you know what Vine is, but gosh, someone please comment and tell me that you know what Vine is so I don't feel like a crazy millennial person. But anyways,
Isn't that
it
the one
used
that
to just
disappeared?
be, huh?
Is that the one where you type in a comment and then it, like in 24 hours, it disappears?
No,
Or is
that
that?
is, I think you're thinking of Snapchat, but Vine was essentially what TikTok, people say, like, was modeled after, but essentially it's like when I was in high school, we had Vine. It was like original YouTube videos and just people making content to just throw up on the internet. Doesn't mean that it's good, but it's entertaining and it gets your mind off things. Like, that's what social media used to be. And now it's become self marketing and promos and buy this, buy that, and listen to me about this. And this is what's happening politically. And it drives me crazy that whenever somebody is just purely trying to put things up to brighten someone's day, they're immediately crucified. I don't understand that. Like, it drives me insane. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you're not a good person if you're not doing what I want you to do. But the reality is, I'm not going to make everyone happy. And if I can just continue to be a light on the internet, then that's what I want to do.
Wow. Oh, and Sean commented that Vines were awesome and that they were 10-second videos. So Allie feels much better now, Sean.
Thanks,
Well,
John.
on that topic, I wanted to bring up this lawsuit, I think it was in New Mexico, against Meta, that this young woman brought, saying that social media had negatively affected her in her childhood and early teens to the point where she couldn't function as an adult now. And of course, the expectation is that that's not going to go anywhere. It actually went to court. It actually went to a jury trial. The jury voted in her favor and gave her 20 million bucks. Now, Meta, of course, is appealing that decision, so she doesn't get her 20 million bucks yet. But I was just thinking about the precedent that sends. Specifically, what broke my heart is when I heard about, the kids who were bullied, in junior high, and then they'd go home and kill themselves because somebody posted something negative about them on social media. And so going back 10, 15 years now, when I would hear that, I'd think this is a dangerous, potentially dangerous way for people to be communicating.
I
And
think there's so much to that. Oh, gosh. Ah.
well,
I think that no matter what, there's always going to be bad people with bad intentions. And unless we start to combat that with positivity and good intentions, then it's never going to change. It doesn't matter if there's social media or there's no social media. It doesn't matter if you're you're completely isolated in, some separate community that doesn't even interact with society. There is always going to be conflict. There's always going to be assholes in the world. There's always going to be someone who wants to get a leg up on you because they've been screwed over by XYZ, and it's never going to end. So unless we can just shift our mentality into how can we make this a positive instead of how can we eliminate it because it could be a negative, like we're just never going to get anywhere. I've had, and I mean, I know my mom is watching. I saw her commenting, and she could probably correct me with a number, but between junior high and high school, I think we lost somewhere around 6 kids to suicide. And I went to a very small high school. So it's something that's like very personal to me. I've always been someone who speaks up against things that I just think are horrible. I guess that's like the most PC way I can say that. Um, but it started when I was 17 or 18, and I created a campaign called You Can Talk to Me. And it was these little wristbands. They were black and it had white lettering on it. And it just said, You can talk to me. And then in smaller letters on the other side, it said, Depression is real. And I think that something like that, where like there is an automatic knowingness if that person's wearing that, like I can just go up to them and talk and I can just not be alone for once, is something that can be stretched and changed and applied to all kinds of different things like social media. But none of those suicides were because of social media at all. I think it was all just rumors within our school, and social media is a tool that you can use for things like that, but it's not going to eliminate the negativity. What it can do, though, is spread more positivity. It can give resources to those who wouldn't have access to those types of resources. There are so many more good stories than there are bad ones. And I hate saying this because I know parenting is hard, but it absolutely boils down to how much are you paying attention to your kids' lives? Are you paying attention to the difference in their personality? Are they hanging out with the same friends at school? If not, why not? You have to pay attention and get your kids to talk about social media. Get them to feel safe around you, because if they don't, then yeah, you're going to be blindsided by one thing or another.
Interesting you say that, because in response to this and several other stories, in response to that lawsuit, they are talking about putting a ban on anyone under 16 using social media at all. Of course, my first thought is, yeah, good, try to enforce that. But still, that tells me that it's being recognized as a problem. But personally, I really like your take on it. Takes personal responsibility, and these kids didn't come into the world on their own. Mom and dad took responsibility and said, yes, consciously, I am going to have a kid, and that means you're also going to take care of them. And
Yeah, I mean, it just like it's hard to say you can't have a social media account until you're 16, because while I think that that could be beneficial for a lot of people, it also stunts a lot because there's so much to be had in the social media world, not just like information and consumption, but there's so many jobs, there's so many things that are positive. There's scientists that are sharing information that they have. I mean, it's just like such a plethora of knowledge. It'd be like taking away the internet as a whole for someone who's younger than 16, where then
interesting.
you turn 16 and then you jump in and you're just like so eager, you've been told you can't have it, you can't have it, and suddenly you can have it. Like, I just think that that would be catastrophic for so many 16-year-olds. It's hard to say there's an age, it's hard to say there's a right and a wrong way to do it. It's just being self-aware and teaching your kids how to be emotionally intelligent is like primarily, in my opinion, the best way to go with that, because you just be stunted otherwise. I'm not saying everybody needs to have a social media, but if you want to, I mean, we can all say, we didn't always listen to our parents. I would have just made an account. If my mom was like, oh, well, law says, like, she's in here. I'm sure she'd comment. She just let me have an account, and we just changed the date of my birthday and move on. I did that with email account and everything else. So it's not going to change whether we're going to have kids on social media or not. It's just going to change how we do it.
Now, you talked about, and I talked about, the emotional ramifications of being on social media. Now, when you got really, really popular, I was there with you when you were being just absolutely attacked for no reason except that you put yourself out there enough. Enough strangers have a way of communicating. As you said, bad people exist. They're going to be assholes. But still, you are becoming more thick skinned, but it hurt you. I was there with you.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff
But,
really hurt.
well, here's your correction, which, like, I will not go into detail because I refuse to, and I respect these people's privacy. But it only hurt me because they weren't strangers. You end up in a
Mhm.
space where whenever you enter social media, you have to accept the fact that the friends that you have or the family that you have, acquaintance, coworkers, whatever, their opinions of you might not stay as they are once you start gaining traction. And it's no different than people who succeed in a business or a career that they want. Typically, there's some kind of judgment. I cannot speak to why. I think it's different for everyone, whether that is jealousy or projection or trust issues. It really doesn't matter to me what the reason was. But yeah, these were people all conniving behind my back, and I have like screenshot proof now, and I don't do anything with it. It's just for my peace of mind to know that I'm not crazy. But yeah, I mean, and these are bigger people. These are people who are, in the influencer world or in, the able-bodied dance world, some of them, and some of them are, in organizations that I've helped out. It's just very difficult to look at your life as a whole, see the growth that you've had, come from nothing, literally homelessness, and then be told, oh, you're a liar, you're being dramatic, you're not even disabled, we have proof, and the proof is that this person told me that you said, and it's just like, okay, we're not at proof anymore. We're just being petty. And I don't really care what the reason anymore is. I just move on.
Does it help having people around you who support you and are, three dimensional that can look at you and say, "But Allie, that's not you."
Honest to God, you were the primary person that was doing that. And yes, it literally saved me. I don't know how I would have continued my journey in social media. I don't think that I would have stopped, but I don't think that it would have looked like what it looks like now. And I think it's extremely important to find people who are on your side and can support you in whatever you're trying to achieve, or support you whenever life throws things at you completely random. I mean, I had no clue that my account was going to blow up like that. You see all kinds of things where people are like, oh, I made a bet with so and so if I could get this many followers, ha ha, he he. I had no clue that overnight I would gain 56,000 followers. I mean, that's what happened. But then I kept blaming it on, oh, well, I'm not that good of a content creator. These people are right. They are pointing things out. I do need to check myself, when in reality, a couple weeks later on a different platform, another video blew up. So it had nothing to do with this bet or that bet, or she's begging for money for her health, or whatever it may be. But it was very easy to believe that those things were true when the real human people who are 3D are also telling you you're dramatic, you're needy, you're scamming
Oh,
people, whatever. So that's where it's like, yes, it is great, but only if those people are actually on your side.
gotcha. Wow. Now, another thing that's happening right now, different than when I got paralyzed 30 years ago, is having a disability is much more in fashion than it was before. You actually see it on commercials. In fact, you were in one, correct?
I
um,
was.
where, where the kind of the whole point of the commercial was, hey, look how easy we are to work with for people with disabilities, right? You never would have seen that 30 years ago. People with disabilities didn't exist. So you're hitting at a time when you can be treated like a normal person, I hope, right? And you're in fashion. So what companies that you work with, I don't know, can you say are your favorites, or would that be bad?
No, I can absolutely say my favorites. I think that the ones that have been my favorite have been the ones that are organic-ish. And I say organic-ish because obviously I was in the right place at the right time, or I met them in a scenario that was planned, but I just didn't know that I'd be working with them. So like um I've actually been talking about them a lot. Like I'm not trying to give them a hot head or a hot ego. So if Kenny ever sees this, he can chill, okay? But there is a company called Extreme Modus, and I mean they've been my absolute favorite to work with when it comes to accessibility. But then nonprofits wise, I die hard absolutely love Nature Track. That's here in Santa Barbara. They're amazing human beings, and they really are real human beings. One of their employees actually just left my house about 30 minutes before I hopped on here. Came and picked up one of the Freedom Tracks attachments for my wheelchair and took it off to an event.
Tell
So
people
it's
tell
just
people what Extreme Modus does and what Nature Track does.
absolutely. Extreme Modus creates all-terrain wheelchairs with these bubble wheels that are essentially impenetrable. Like I think they said to record they've had like 5 pop ever in the history of ever. But you can take them on ice, snow. They float in water, sand. Personally, I got to test it inside of the Grand Canyon, which was super cool. Kenny is with Extreme Modus, and he was the one actually operating the chair. Some of the cool things that I've learned: number one, it folds up, so it's easier to transfer, but it's created kind of like heavyweight with 2 wheels in the back, and then it's got this long, skinny, thin piece that sticks out with a wheel in the front. And then the seat is actually a race car seat, so it has lateral supports built into it. It's just super comfortable, but it means that you can do off-roading things and hiking things with just 1 or 2 people assisting you, whereas some of the other equipment that's available, you have to have multiple people kind of like surrounding this chunk of equipment. So absolutely love the Extreme Modus chair. And then Nature Track is a nonprofit here in Santa Barbara. Did not start out as something that was an accessibility nonprofit at all. It was just about getting kids into nature. So they do. I am not going to even try and give you a number, but it's an absurd amount of field trips, completely free of cost to the schools, where they get kids literally just out in nature, touching grass. They get to explore beaches and break open rocks and smell sage and just like really hands-on nature experience. And then they realized that some of the kids and I believe one of their volunteers couldn't go because they were wheelchair users. So they looked into all of their options and they found something called the Freedom Tracks, which is this tank-like attachment that you roll your manual wheelchair onto, and I think like some folding power chairs as well, and it makes it an all-terrain chair. So they now have that side, and I am their first ever ambassador, which I will be talking about soon online, which is going to be super fun. Where essentially I just take it out, and it's not hard to show off. You hear a tank coming, and you kind of turn and look. So I get a lot of people asking me questions about the tank attachment. But yeah, really, really cool nonprofit. They also have a film festival, Nature Track Film Festival. Just really, really cool people.
Can I come? I want to go on
Yes,
the tank track on the beach. Just
absolutely.
please.
You should come out.
Yes, I should.
I don't know
You
what
should
you,
tell
hey, I
me
don't know
about
what
it.
you're doing this weekend, but they have an event on Saturday. And my mom will be
Oh,
here, Deborah.
oh, well, I happen to be free, as it turns out, but we'll talk. Yeah. So, are these people who Nature Track and Extreme Motus? Are they people who pay you to what do you call it? Represent them? No,
Not at all,
influence
actually.
for
And it's
them.
funny that those would even be at the top of my list because I make a big old goose egg with them. I'm actually out money with with some, but no, yeah, I didn't make a dime. I got flown out to the Grand Canyon last year with my fiance where we got to test 14 different pieces of equipment for a different nonprofit. It's called High Country Adaptive. And they had also brought out a bunch of people who owned the equipment. So like Kenny and I met there because I was testing out the Extreme Modus for them. But yeah, that's about it. And then Nature Track, I met at a surfing event for Life Rolls On, I believe, and they just happened to be there allowing people to use their track chairs. So yeah, no, I don't
Uh,
get paid for either one, but they're also some of the ones I advertise the most because when people are good people, I have no issues with doing as much as I can to help them out.
so I know we have to wrap up, but it's fascinating. What so somebody is watching this and says, "Okay, I'm a good person. I can spread joy. I look good on camera, or I don't." Um, how should they find people who want to monetize them?
Oh gosh, I think it comes down to like when you first start your social media journey, you have to ask yourself what you want that to look like. There's some people who make the mistake of niching down too hard. So if I were only the wheelie girl from the beginning, I'd kind of be screwed. But that's where it comes down to your creativity. What do you want to do? What do you love doing? What do you want your life to look like? And then from there, you pick out the companies that are like your dream companies to work with and build up from there. If you have enough audacity, you can absolutely just find an email and cold email them. And it just comes down to how professional do I sound? Am I capable of actually producing the content that I'm pitching to these people? And then you just hit send. You have to stay on top of your email. You have to make sure that you are an available human being when it comes to things like that. But it really is just how much audacity can I have this week? And am I brave enough to send this email or DM? And some people say hell no, but that's a learning experience. And if you're brave enough, yet again, you can ask why it's a no so that you can better your pitch next time. But it really is just throwing in the dark and hoping something sticks. There's really no magic serum, there's no secret to it all. It's just get up and go. Do your
But the
research,
magic
figure out what you're
serum,
worth.
you just listed the magic serum. The magic serum is what is it you love? What
Yeah.
is it you want to spend time doing because you love it, or you want to get the word out in the world because you love it? I think that is part of why you project joy so much. Yeah, I mean, you might want to not love it doing it 18 hours a day quite so much, but yeah, that if that's the way you came to this career, then it makes sense why people are so attracted to your content and just to seeing you every day. Because if I'm correct, you now post something of you doing a wheelie every single day, right?
Every single day, I'll have to look back, but I think, what month are we in?
We are
Oh
in
gosh.
April.
So that means that I think I've been doing wheelies on the internet for 5 months straight. That's crazy.
Yeah, because when you were a
That
kid, I went, I know. He said, no, I don't want to be an astronaut. I want to Do daily
Mhm.
wheelies.
I mean, I do
Yeah.
extreme sports. I'm an aerialist. I'm a freaking professional dancer. But I post all of that, and people are like, "Yeah, I guess that's cool." That's the name of the algorithm, man. You just never know what's gonna work. But then I post a wheelie, and people are like, "Oh my god, that's so cool! Can you do that again?" And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do it again. But the reality is, I do wheelies daily anyways. Some people are like, oh my gosh, why are you doing this to like be a poser on the internet? No, I just do them every day. They release pressure in my lower back. And I also do
Mhm.
it because it's like pacing. I have like the worst raging ADHD. I got to do something with my hands and I can't pace back and forth. So I do wheelies.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Teresa Honsacker. I'm sorry. I'm sure I mangled that. So she wants to know, were you a professional dancer before you got in the wheelchair? Which is a yes, right?
Mm-hmm. Is that all? I
And
can't read that
so,
tiny writing, girl.
oh, that's okay, but I can. Okay. Were you a professional dancer prior to your medical diagnosis that puts you in the wheelchair disability category of dance? And if so, where did you train?
Oh my goodness, my dance story is actually hilarious and also kind of a joke. It really comes down to like I think I've just been trained to have audacity. But I danced as a kid. I think in like three or four little like short classes when I was a child, and then I ended up quitting because I got bullied like crazy. I did cheer in high school because it was the closest thing to dance, but I used to quit every year. This is so horrible. I used to quit every single year because I hated doing cheer, and all we did was basketball cheers, and so I would just quit. Um, but then I got into college and I had to do a PE credit and they had a dance option. So I was like, I'm going to do that because I got to have a little bit of joy as I'm trying to make an actual career. And after week 3, I was fully sucked into the dance program. My teacher was like, hey, what are you doing at 5 p.m.? And I thought she was going to like invite me to a club or something as a
Yeah.
freshman in college. And she was like, oh, great. So I need more enrollees in this class. You're coming. And I had no backbone at the time. So I was like, yes, ma'am. Oh, sure. And so I went, and little did I know that was going to suck me into dancing. Gosh, I danced 4 to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for school. And I ended up getting awards for like most improved and up and coming dancer and all this stuff. And after about 4 months of dancing there, I got recognized by a very new, very small company in Fresno, California called Revive. I love them to pieces. That's my dance home. And so I trained with them and very quickly became professional. About 6 months after all of that started, I went to my very first class for aerial. I did aerial silks and I accidentally signed up for an intermediate class. Your first class is free. So I was like, this is the one that's available during, my crazy schedule. So I went. Because of me, they made a rule that you had to go to a beginning class for your first class ever, but they also made me an apprentice. So after 2 whole classes of aerial, I was an apprentice for the company. After a little bit after that, COVID happened, but yeah, I was getting paid to do dance and aerial professionally like pretty quickly after starting my training. Um, but yeah, I think it just comes down to like I really was learning how to be body aware and be kind to my body. And with Revive, my favorite thing was like they taught adapting about everything. And I wasn't remind you, I didn't know I was disabled at the time. I knew I had a lot of pain, I knew I had a lot of difficulties, but I didn't have answers yet.
And
And
you
they were
weren't using a
always very
wheelchair.
adamant about being kind to yourself. What's up?
You weren't using a wheelchair at this point.
No, not when I first started. I
Right.
didn't start using a wheelchair until like 4 years into that. And then I had like a break from college and I got invited back as a guest choreographer when I was in a wheelchair. But no, I didn't dance in my chair at my first years of college, but I kind of like revisited that later.
Gotcha. Ooh, great question, you guys. Thank you very much. We're supposed to have stopped 7 minutes ago, but if anybody has any more questions, throw them in the chat because I could talk to this girl forever, as we have proven many, many, many times. Right? So, what's next for Allie Corvin?
So many things. I'm announcing something big tomorrow that I literally by contract can't talk about until tomorrow.
All right.
So keep an eye on my social media if you want to see that. But yeah, so many new things are coming. It kind of like makes my head spin.
Good.
We aren't like actively talking about this in a like big production kind of way yet, but I am preparing for a very large hike, a 3-day long hike in the Grand Canyon that I'll be doing later this year. So that's super exciting. It's going to be filmed and hopefully made into like a documentary type thing. So pray for me,
With
I guess,
with
or
what
send good
kind of
vibes.
equipment? With what kind of
Don't know yet.
equipment?
Don't know yet. So I do know that there are going to be mules possibly involved. Yes, I do mean the animal.
Thank God.
Again, like I said, send good vibes. But then I know there's going to be options. I kind of need to test out what's going to work best for my body. The way it's going right now, I am improving with my physical health when it comes down to like the fear of, is this smart for my lower back, because that was like my biggest worry, was I was going to go on this trip and end up paralyzed at the end of it, because if I sat in one position all freaking day long, caused the swelling to get really bad, and like slept the wrong way and there was no one to go help, like that's kind of a recipe for, asking for it, for my back to kind of just give in. But
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, fingers crossed, with the PT, the very intense amount of PT that I've been doing the last few months, that we should be clear by, I think it's November that we're doing it, to use something manual. If not, though, I will likely use something powered.
There you go. I have done the mules in, so to speak, in the Grand Canyon, and it's wonderful, but it's not the most comfortable experience I have ever had. So be prepared, especially for your lower back.
Yeah, and if we did mules, I think it was going to be like either half day or one day. Like it's definitely not going to be the whole way, because there's just literally no way I could do that. But I've also heard it's a lovely experience scent wise, and I'm so sensitive to smells that I'm not really prepared for that.
Yes. You keep a lemon or an orange in your pocket, scratch it, scratch and sniff. That is a way scratch and sniff is very useful.
I'm so excited now.
Well, on that note, I guess we better wrap it up. And God, it's been delightful, Miss Allie. And maybe I'll see you on Saturday. Call me and we'll talk.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. It's been a blast as per usual.
Repeat again how people can find you, follow you, and of all the platforms, what's the one you use the most?
Facebook and Instagram are kind of intertwined, so those are probably the two that I am on the most. I don't post like photos as much on, like I don't do that on YouTube or TikTok. But for YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, it is Ally.Corbin, so ALY.COR, V as in Victor, I, N as in Nancy. And then TikTok's the only one that's weird and different because I just never changed it. It is spacewalk.ally.
Okay, and Sean says he's going to put all of this up in the description. And I think I need to have you back on the show another time, and we can do a whole show on Allie's medical diagnosis. Thanks for asking, Lizzie, which is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and has so many subtleties, variables, and misconceptions about it that yeah, we can do a whole show on it. It's a lot harder to explain than just saying, "Oh yeah, I got a spinal cord injury." Right?
Yeah, I have currently, it's labeled as unspecified EDS because they don't even know what category I'm in. And then, yeah, it comes with a lovely little like gift package of extra diagnoses when you get that. So it's a bit complex. Yeah,
That's okay. I'm idiopathic transverse myelitis. So, yes.
I love
So
that.
the undiagnosed and the idiopathic became friends.
I love that for you.
I knew you'd say that. All right. Again, our sponsors are mobility professionals and urology professionals. Again, contact them if you need anything in DME, urological, all of wound care, all that great stuff. They're here in Southern California and they're terrific. And hopefully we will be back. But Sean says I can come back on and do some more interviews with interesting people, which I really love that idea. So pressure on you, Sean. Anyway, thanks for watching, all you guys, and tell your friends because this will be, of course, now posted on YouTube and you can watch it anytime. Thanks for being here, Ali.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everybody.